is actually one of the most important things to keep in mind. What you're asking is this kind of hybrid cloud is really the next level of evolution. So I would agree to all the statements which have been made before. And what we see is that hybrid cloud is also a kind of enabler for converged IT. So it means now hybrid is not any longer a kind of mixture between public and private cloud. It really now moves us to the next level where we can shift data in between. And according to that, it becomes even more important if you look to the current CIO's agenda. In the past, maybe he was interested about some server KPIs, so how is my machine doing, how is my IT running, but nowadays, more and more with this hybrid cloud architecture and the new possibilities, it's much more relevant how the customer, let's say, engagement model, how the end user experience is really perceived from that what the IT director is delivering to his clients. And therefore, I think it is even more important that we, as service provider, BT on a global scale, make sure that we can provide this connectivity towards other service providers, towards other partners in the market. So therefore, we are investing a lot in this kind of connectivity thing. So for example, we recently launched ExpressRoute, which gives customer access to Microsoft data centers. We are working on Cloud Connect, which is a huge program in providing access to more than 100 data centers around the world. And finally, we are working together with you guys on the data fabric or on intercloud.
Thank you. You are using converged infrastructures as part of your data center solutions. What advantages do you see? What use cases do you see for that?
I mean, again, based on that, what I explained a second before, this kind of converged IT is very important. And again, I try to give you some examples. So we figured out by working together with the clients, there are more or less three bullet points which really matters. One is this kind of thing, hybrid counts. So not only talking about private and public, really moving into these hyperscale environments and making more workloads possible. So moving the cloud into a different layer, creating more value. One point. Then second, really location matters. I think this is still very important to the clients, especially in Germany. So make sure that you have a kind of global story to your clients, but that you are also able to deliver locally. And finally is the end-to-end responsibility. So meaning that whomever you ask, you need to have access to the cloud, you need to have the cloud work, and finally you need to orchestrate all the things together via consistent SLAs. So that's what we really want to do. And as BT, as we act in more than 170 countries, we run about 19,000 people, employees, our business, and finally with a huge amount of professional services, we want to do the right thing with regards to what our customers are asking us.
Thank you, Christian. Now, Martin, what's the impact of cloud on the enterprise today? Do you see it as disruption, opportunity, both? What do you see?
George, first up, thanks for having me here. Actually, it's both. And let me start with the companies, or an example for companies that have not been around 5 or 8 years ago. I think Spotify is a great example, or SoundCloud here in Berlin as a disruptor to the music industry, or, for example, Airbnb, a disruptor to the hotellerie industry. All of them are running on AWS. And they are here because of they leverage the benefits of the cloud, which is low investment, or no investment up front, pay as you go, scale up, scale down as you want. You know, all of the good benefits that help these customers disrupt the business. And I'm not sure whether you know, but Airbnb today has 190,000 nights, housing nights per night on their system. So probably the Hiltons of this world would be interested in that amount of nights. So that is the disruption element, and obviously that's disruptive to existing businesses. Now, on the other hand, we see more and more of traditional companies that have been around for over 100 years, like Kempinski, start leveraging the benefits of the cloud to become more competitive. Now, what Kempinski has done 3 years ago, they have considered what is really differentiating them towards their clients, which is great venues, use, for example, like the Adlon here in Berlin or great sites, it's not running data centers. And that's why Kempinski, from a different angle, started to focus on their core competencies, which is not running data centers, and moved all into AWS. So what we see today is that more and more enterprise clients are trying to find their way how to benefit and leverage the cloud to transform their business to an opportunity. And as this is, not every enterprise customer is prepared to go all in like Kempinski. That's why we feel the joint announcement, or the announcement you have done, like Cloud-Umgebungen, is so exciting, and that's why we are so excited about helping enterprise customers move gradually, step by step, into a hybrid version and leverage the benefits of the cloud.
One question, Martin, that comes up is, how do you talk to customers when they think about data governance, data privacy, and those types of issues as they try to embrace the cloud?
I'm glad you bring this up, because we welcome everybody who really asks about this question and does not take preemptive assumptions. So there are three elements of answers to your question. First one is we have contracts with our clients that are rock solid in compliance with, for example, European data legislation. And the same is true for German data legislation that is known as one of the hardest globally. So we are prepared to take customer relationships on a contract that are in compliance with regulatory laws. First, the second one is if you know about our shared responsibility model, where we provide compliance and certification of what we call be compliant off the cloud versus the client to be compliant in the cloud and what they run in the cloud. So we have all of the most favorable certifications out there, which is ISO 27001, which is now newly announced ISO 9001, which is important for the healthcare industry. This is PCI for everybody who is transacting credit card data, for example. So there's a whole host of certifications that we provide, and control sets that we provide our clients for them to become compliant in the cloud. And thirdly, it's technical measures. So for example, we have a variety of key management of public keys that customers can use. Customers can bring their own keys, or customers can even operate keys on a system within our data center, so nobody gets access to the data. So technical measures, like for example, virtual private cloud, like direct connect. So there's a variety of technical measures. And all these three combined make customers and enterprise customers very sure that they can trust us.
Thank you. You know, Daniel, your company, SMA Solar, is the world's leading manufacturer of power inverters and power transformation equipment. What is the role of storage? Thank you for being a Netapp customer for a long time. How do you see storage and data management being part of your company's business activities?
It's an enabler of our business activities. What we have seen in the last 10 to 15 years is storage went from something you had in a server or in a set of servers to something you need to share between servers, be it by leveraging things like VMware, who basically need shared storage for their functions, or you just want to have the flexibility to move it from one server to another. You need storage there, speed, you need storage on another system. And it's also a basic component of something we call Sunny Portal. It's similar to your auto support. We have right now about 170,000 solar plants worldwide reporting performance data, system logs and stuff like that. And you basically need to store that data somewhere. You need to modify the data, compute, and store the results. And so, yes, storage is a very basic, very important part of our IT infrastructure, and so for our business.
I believe you're a user of our Metro Cluster solution. What benefits have you seen from using Metro Cluster, and how do you envision the combination of clustering technology with our operating system and Metro Cluster helping you?
We have been using Metro Cluster since 2008, so for 6 years now at SMA, and it's the answer to our customers, to our users, who wanted to have redundancy over data centers, to have transparent failover. For example, again, the Sunny portal, you can't have downtime with such a system. And one of the issues with the old 7-mode Metro cluster was if you switch over to the second data center, you always had a single point of failure. You had one storage controller in each data center, and if you need to fail over for updates or for emergencies, you could risk any additional failure on top of that. And that is something the MCC, the Metro cluster, does address. We were part of the early validation program of the MCC, and we were very impressed how stable the software was, even in that early beta stage. And yeah, we were very happy to be able to test it.
You know, I had one final question. As a customer, your view on the hybrid cloud would be interesting to all of us. I think we are all either manufacturers or service providers to you. How do you see, what use cases do you envision for, the cloud being of benefit to you? What are your biggest concerns about using the cloud?
One of the biggest concerns, besides the obvious reasons like cost and data security, the compliance laws mentioned earlier, is how to get the data into the cloud, and more important, how to get it back onto another cloud provider. And that was something really, it was a showstopper for us, because we couldn't figure out a way safely to get the data back if we are not satisfied with the cloud provider. And that is something we will look into the next year with Netapp hybrid cloud solutions. I think having the same set of commands, same operating system, both on-premise and in the cloud, is really game-changing.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to just close by inviting Julie Parrish, our Chief Marketing Officer, to come back up. She will, moderate the question and answers, and then I think we'll bring Tom back up for final close.
So we're awfully formal here. We'll have extra moderation. So this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions of the customers that are up here, as well as if you have questions for George that you didn't have a chance to ask earlier. And we do ask that before you start your question, you just let us know your name and the publication that you're representing. So who would like to start? Excellent.
Last time we met in Budapest, you mentioned the will you had at Netapp to develop with partners what you call soft skills versus hard skills. Can you elaborate a little bit now? What should those soft skills consist of in terms of the chain of value?
If you wouldn't mind, could we actually take that one offline? Because I don't actually represent the partner community, right? And I'd be happy to get you set up with Thomas Stanley, who could help you with that one. So today we were looking a little bit more for questions for some of the panelists here, as well as George, on what you heard. Would that be all right? Okay, terrific.
Maybe Christian could answer that.
Let's do it if you like. So as we are a strong partner of Netapp, actually, so we are receiving this kind of soft skill transformation as well. Let me explain a bit what it means. So you guys, and you talked about what it means to really transform customers from the traditional infrastructure, meaning from the private data center or from their own storage towards cloud. It's a huge transformation process. As we discussed before, security is an issue, compliance is an issue, and how to get the data into and out of the cloud. So therefore, Netapp is applying a lot of programs in helping the SEs more than in the past to understand the language of the clients. So actually translating what does a workload, a business process transformation from the former equipment towards the cloud does mean. So based on the knowledge and the know-how sharing we did together with Netapp, we introduced into the market so-called cloud transformation programs, which actually helps the customer in understanding what does the new environment, the new culture mean, and where is it coming from, and this really actually helps. And you guys really investing a lot in your partners and your service provider by making this work.
Terrific, great example. All right, other questions? Yes?
Richie James, independent analyst. A few of you have mentioned Metro Cluster, and that's, I think, good to hear. In Vegas, I heard a lot of people talk about Metro Cluster, but it became very clear that in North America it's not on the map compared with how it is here in Europe. Can some of you speak to that and say why you think that is and what the future for Metro Cluster is in North America?
So maybe I can take that. I think the disaster protection mechanisms in in Europe are the majority of the data centers that we see customers using for disaster protection in Europe are within about 200 to 300 kilometers, which is perfect for a metro cluster type solution, which is synchronous data availability across a metro distance. In North America, the distances are not all beyond 200 to 300, but there's a good chunk of data centers that are either one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, where the latency is substantially higher than what a synchronous solution can offer. So there are alternative techniques, asynchronous or semi-synchronous solutions that customers use. There are increasingly customers on the East Coast, in the financial services firms, for example, where they put a couple of data centers, either one in New York and another one in New Jersey, that are metro distance. So it's different topologies. Did that answer your question?
I think so. Thank you. Dan, do you have anything?
I agree. It's basically a matter of distance because it's not only Germany, it's Switzerland, for example, with a lot of data cluster installations. And if you take SMA, for example, we have the data centers about 2 or 3 kilometers away. So it's a perfect distance for Metro cluster, and latency is not an issue. And with the adoption of flash systems, the latency issue is getting even worse.
Okay, other questions?
I'm Calibadore from Zero Italy. My magazine deals rather with business people rather than IT people. And I would like, therefore, to know which is the business, the advantages from the point of view of the user, of the company, of the steel store products, and why, how do they fit in your strategy? It is an appliance, understand? No?
That's correct. I think when you look at what SteelStore offers the business as opposed to IT, essentially SteelStore offers businesses, I think, 2 or 3 advantages. One is it allows them to keep a set of data online that they used to not keep online. Today a lot of company data is sitting on tapes or locked away in vaults that they don't have access to. We talked to a large petrochemical company that literally has 1 million tapes of all of their seismic data that is not online, and their scientists actually want to get access to that information so that they can compare the age of fuel field over its life. What SteelStore allows you to do is to bring that data online but still keep it cost effective.
So you mean to make those data more quickly available?
That's correct. So that you can trend your business over time, you can study the progress of various aspects of your business over time. I think that's the main advantage.
Yeah, maybe adding to that in a simple word, It is improved end-user experience. So you clearly avoid the delays, and the customer simply feels better. I mean, he types in, he gets an immediate response, and that's what is caused by this kind of new technology added into the data center environment.
Great, thank you. Other questions? We probably have time for one or two more. Yes.
George Kurian from IT Markt. We are a Swiss-based channel magazine, and my question would be, how important is hardware for Netapp? I mean, today we heard a lot about this new software technologies, about your new cloud services and your cloud partners. So, what about hardware?
I think, as Tom, our CEO, mentioned, the vast majority of our business will still be systems and hardware based. When we look at the IT environments in our customers, IT managers want to spend their time, rather than integrating hardware and software, they want to actually deliver new capabilities to the business, analytic capabilities and new online applications and so on. And so what we find there is our hardware systems have gotten more complex, and we are integrating with more providers, right? So for example, our FAS hardware platforms include a lot of high performance, technology like networking technology, flash technology, and so on. The second is, we have seen very good growth in our converged infrastructure business, which is essentially the combination of our storage systems with the computing capabilities of Cisco and the networking capabilities of Cisco to simplify. So we do see hardware being a big part of what customers want. What is unique about our hardware portfolio is that the software that customers can use there is also usable in other ways, and so it gives people, advantage in a world where things are changing. So,
if I may add a thought to that, we see more and more customers or prospects coming to us and asking us how they would redefine the make or buy decision in their application stack. And an example to that is Software AG, a software vendor here in Darmstadt, who are providing a number of software as a service offerings now, in addition to their on-premises offerings. And they have asked themselves, where is their core competency? Is it making software, or is it running global data centers? And Software AG decided not to focus on running global data centers, but asked us to help them and focus their core competency on building SaaS applications and providing those to their clients. So I think an offering like a globally dispersed cloud offering can help rethink the question you just asked.
All right, one last question. Okay, then I think we'll close this section out and say thank you to our panelists and to George.
thank you.
And with that, we are going to transition back to CEO Tom Georgens to kind of close out with a few additional thoughts.
Great.